Somebody will have to get my presentation on. Thank you. Honorable Minister of Labour. Yes, I can. Honorable Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment, Mr. Ananda Vimalaveera, Secretary to the Ministry, the Commissioner General of Labour, Mr. Chandrakirti, Mrs. Ratnayaka, Senior Consultant, officials of the Ministry of Labour, ladies and gentlemen. I must also not forget the constituents, of which I was very much part of some time back. The Bar Association of Sri Lanka deeply appreciates this timely initiative by the government and wishes to thank the Honourable Minister for providing an opportunity to make a representation through this broader dialogue. I think you have given more meaning to what is there in Convention 144 by inviting a larger discourse and larger, I suppose, wide array of persons and organizations to have a dialogue with you in relation to this important subject. The Bar Association welcomes this inclusive process as it ensures the freedom to express our views and also contribute to this important national endeavor. The Bar Association wishes to inform you that it will support and extend its fullest cooperation to you, sir, and to every one of you who are involved in this process to succeed in this endeavor and bring forth a set of simple yet robust and up-to-date set of laws that also cater to future economic and sustainable development through the creation of decent and productive work opportunities, creation of an ecosystem that supports sustainable enterprises, create wealth, better living conditions and welfare of workers. I don't want to go and have a debate on the last 2 points. You all can figure out whether the chicken or the egg came first. I'm not going to have a debate on that. We encourage policymakers to benchmark against and study legal systems of faster developing and developed countries in relation to this endeavor. And the Bar Association stands ready to assist the government to conduct due diligence in this regard whenever it requires. The Bar Association is confident and encourages this process to be aligned with international labor standards and best practices that will enable the country to also take advantage of global opportunities. As you are aware, sir, as we speak, the European Union delegation is here to encourage us to ratify the GSP Plus agreements. I'm sure you are well involved in those matters, but we stand ready to help at any stage. As you and your colleague before me reminded us, laws should also cater to increased participation of women, youth, and other vulnerable groups such as persons with disabilities, because they are an important part of the workforce. Prevent all forms of discrimination, harassment, and violence at the workplace. We always think of ratifying conventions. Yes, ratifying conventions is important, but equally important is to take those values, if there are barriers, and implement it through our own legislation. So we encourage you to do that. We also wish to see that the promotions and skills development takes a predominant place, as you just mentioned, sir. We also think there should be an upliftment of all constituents, including especially the employees that who are contributing to our economy. And we also encourage you to link skills to wages. This has been a topic that we have been discussing for a long time, and it can be done very carefully by linking the minimum wage system to the NVQ system, so that we pay according to skills, and that will encourage workers to obtain those skill levels and be certified in skills. Developing a well-networked system for migrant workers with higher skills and thereby ensuring safe migration is also important. As you know, sir, you are well aware that in the Philippines, there is a specialized agency, TESDA, which does that, and which is considered as a world-class organization that can be easily benchmarked. requirement of growth industries as well as those indigenously important industries should be looked at. The creation of jobs that enhance food and energy security, as we all know, we have all gone through this crisis, will be equally important. And we have to create jobs. There are a lot of investor sentiment in these areas, so we need to actually bridge the skills gap so that our employees do get opportunities. I know in the short term we might have to rely on migrant workers from overseas, but I think we should train our employees and bring them up to skill very soon. Enhance the capacities and SMEs by creating a supporting ecosystem. Ensure the deep politicization of decision-making process and the establishment, for example, the establishment of a tripartite plus committee to take decisions with regard to the national minimum wage, like in the case of the United Kingdom and most countries which have a system like that. I'm not saying that political will should not be there. Political will such as yours is very important, sir, because otherwise nothing will go through. But what we say is the system should be depoliticized. Ensure a cordial industrial relations and workplace cooperation regime. A faster paced and equitable process of preventing and settlement of disputes, which you alluded to, is a very important aspects as we see. Because I come across my colleagues from the present workers, my trade union colleagues, from whom I have learned a lot over the years, and the importance of addressing their grievances without delay. The Bar Association further expects that the new and reformed laws to support, these are some of our wish lists, sir. I'm sure you will take cognizance of at least a few. A social security system that caters to a lesser burdensome system of superannuation, improved maternity benefits, and worker health, as well as redundancy and terminal compensation. These are some of the aspects that we proposed. Safeguarding of the rights of constituents and investors. This is something I'm sure my worker colleagues will be very interested in, but I'm sure the employers will also be equally interested. So will the entrepreneurs, who many of them are self-employed and supporting the national economy. Reform and repeal outdated laws such as the Termination Act, and introduced, for example, an enterprise restructuring law which encourages employers to consider all other options prior to entering a process to terminate employees. Because we know through experience, especially after COVID and during COVID, we had to discuss and enter into agreements with our employees and the trade unions which represent workers for new innovative mechanisms such as furloughing, offering them the opportunity to work elsewhere during that time. So these are some aspects that we might have to cater to if we are to look at future innovative aspects. One thing that we could not mention was the enhancing of capacities of government institutions, especially the Labour Department under the Commissioner General, so that you give powers to him to address issues during a crisis. Because we know that the Labour Ministry and the department, especially the department, former Commissioner General is here, now he's Secretary, used to assist parties. But we were always, even I think now the Commissioner General is called upon to explain as to why he is giving administrative relaxations, but whereas if it was there crystal clear in the law, I'm sure the Labour Department will benefit and the officials will not be called upon to explain. It will be much clearer. We also proposed the establishment of a national job bank, because that will help to assist those transiting in jobs and also to ensure that they continue in livelihoods, at least during a temporary period. And that might be very much linked to the social security system that you might want to implement. A wider apprenticeship and training catering to youth, because youth, unfortunately, we have to admit, have lost a lot of confidence in our systems, and we are having a brain drain. We see so many youth migrating abroad, and there's no how should I say, there's no rank or file that we can separate them on. So we need to give confidence to the youth. Of course, the education system also has a lot of responsibility. So we do appreciate your endeavors to uplift the status of workers and especially the youth employment. An easy to understand and equitable system of general terms and conditions, including holidays, with variations that would cater to industries such as agriculture. I think that will be a very useful endeavor. Of course, you have flexible work arrangement and times to consider because we are moving, and we have to think out of the box in relation to this, because we might have to think of, employers will have to think of giving career breaks and things like that, allow people to, even at senior levels, to work part-time, do something on their own in a mutually beneficial manner. A variable rewards and benefit system that is linked to market forces. I have to mention, I know I am alluding to a different era and a different position. We should allow the market forces to dictate, other than the minimum wages, of course, the minimum standards, and avoid ad hoc interventions. Implement out-of-the-box solutions to prevent brain drain. There's a huge onus on us, and enable workers to access better jobs with higher earnings. I don't want to prompt anyone, but we might even have to look at separate zones where people earn in dollars and other currencies, and we might have to cater to that type of thing to encourage our youth, especially to stay back in our country. Of course, it will help older people like us as well, me as well. Thank you. All employees in the private sector to develop a system that would ensure continuation of older workers and ensure that their skills are utilized. I'm not a great fan of retirement ages, especially for the private sector. I think the sector should be allowed to innovate and then thereafter come up with their own schemes. These are some of the issues. Since there is a constraint in time, we are limiting our submissions to this presentation, but the Bar Association hopes to submit a comprehensive set of proposals are following this discourse. So thank you very much, sir, for inviting the Bar Association and to make representations to you. Thank you very much.